Well, good morning, one and all. Welcome to Garden America. Welcome back to the show in studio from the iHeartMedia and Entertainment Studios in beautiful San Diego, California. That's our home base. This is Garden America. I'm Brian Main, Tiger Palafox, John Begnasco. We hope you had a good week. Ready to start the weekend? We are just, less than a week away from Thanksgiving 2022. And before you go any further, or we go any further, we'll be in studio next week for the Thanksgiving show that John's putting together.
Next week's Thanksgiving, huh?
Yeah. Next week is Thanksgiving, yes.
Wow.
I like that what you brought up the other earlier this morning when you mentioned, I can't remember if it was someone you knew or you just saw it online, where the reason why it's snowing so early is because people keep putting up their Christmas decorations earlier and earlier.
Put up those Christmas decorations, here comes the snow. And I think I saw my first Christmas commercial this year back in mid-October.
I feel like the stores are already starting to take down Christmas stuff. You know what I mean? And move on.
Hey, got to get St. Patrick's Day is coming. Valentine's Day is coming.
Yeah.
Don't forget Mother's Day, Father's Day. You don't want to be late for those cards going out, right?
Yeah. That was one thing we did nice and early was the Christmas cards. We're already ready to go with that.
Really?
So that's nice. It's done. Moving on to the next thing. That's always been something my wife waited until the last minute for. And then we're at home filling them all out and sending them in the mail as soon as possible so they arrive at least before Christmas.
Did you do the picture of the family?
Yep.
It's that.
Yep, exactly. So
you know what you should do next year? Do a picture of the family, but have all your faces blurred out.
just
Yeah. We know it's from the Palafox family. Just blur it, you know.
You could reuse that one easily from year
Sure.
to year.
You have a dog, right?
Yep.
Is the dog in the picture?
No.
Oh, what?
I know, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, terrible.
Always got his own cards going out.
Yeah,
To his
exactly.
dog friends, right?
Yep. Yeah. Do you have cat? Do you have?
Actually, yes.
You don't know. I've seen your cards. I don't think I've seen one with your cats.
Yeah, we had 2 years ago. We had all the cats. Now you try to herd a bunch of cats and have them sit there. They're all looking off in a different direction. They won't cooperate.
Yeah. One's got its butt facing you.
Yeah, exactly. So, John, you showed us a beautiful picture this morning of your brother's front yard in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
And we could barely see the roof, the top of the house.
He's up near Traverse City. I think Elk Rapids is the actual town.
What is it called?
Elk Rapids?
Elk Rapids.
Yeah, Elk Rapids. He's on Torch Lake, and which is one of the 10 cleanest lakes in the world.
Really?
Really?
It used to be.
Just goes in one side and then out the other, so it doesn't allow it.
Well,
to
John,
get
you
dirty?
lived back east when we could actually walk on Lake Erie, right? During those times? There was so much garbage and trash.
Oh, I thought you were talking about because it was the ice age.
No,
or something.
No, it was polluted.
They were just dumping everything back in the 60s and 70s.
I told you I walked across Niagara Falls.
Oh yeah.
When it
They-
was frozen solid,
No,
right?
when
No.
it was closed down.
They
Oh,
had to
really?
divert the
It was
water.
closed for repair.
Yeah.
We've got to repair the falls.
Yeah.
So how much electricity does that generate for everybody? Right?
Oh, I never, I took physics in high school, and I was sick the week we did electricity.
So you never learned about it?
Never. I still don't understand.
And they didn't say, here's a review sheet or anything?
I'm like the guy on Seinfeld. I know that there's holes, and you got to put the plugs in.
I remember going back to grade school, we were learning the alphabet, but how to cursive write the alphabet. And I was gone the day we did G, that big capital
just
G.
Never got it?
I came back the next day or whenever, and I told the teacher I wasn't here. Can we do it? She goes, just ask somebody else. They'll tell you. Didn't have time for me.
So just never learn the
Get it
cursive
off somebody.
G.
To this day, I can't write a cursive G.
Yeah. Isn't that the big one that looks like a square or something? The cursive G?
Yes. No, I love writing the G.
They don't teach cursive anymore.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They teach cursing, though.
Yeah. Our friend
Teach
Our
it.
friend Tony in Connecticut, she says that she loves Torch Lake. Reminds her of the Caribbean. That's about I'm sure she
About how
doesn't mean
clear
the
it is?
temperature.
No? Yeah?
Because it's cold, but it's...
Well, how big is the lake, actually? I mean, can you see
It's-
across the other side?
Can you? I think so.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's big. It's not one of the Great Lakes.
No.
No, but
It's like one of the so-so lakes.
So lakes, yeah.
No, it's really, really clean, and the color of the water does remind you of the Caribbean.
You know, we should remind people, too, that we have no guests today. We are your guests.
Oh, yeah.
3 guests today. Myself, John, Tiger. Questions, comments, going to be open. We used to say open phones. It's going to be open Facebook.
Yeah.
We did bring some products in. The subject of the show
We're going to
today
talk
is
about.
the kind of products we like to use.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to, since Tony happens to be listening to us, I have to give a shout out to her and thank her so much because this year or this week I got in 150 bare root roses,
Ooh.
which took me all week to pot up. And 4 of those roses were lemon chiffon, which I think Tony might have had the last plant in the world.
Oh, wow.
It's a Weeks rose from Herb Swim. And been trying to get this going. We've tried cuttings, and finally we sent Budwood off to Wisconsin Roses. So to make sure one would take, I asked him to bud up 4.
Yeah. And all 4 took?
Well, that's always a
I
good
don't know.
idea,
That-
right?
Oh, I thought you said you got in 4.
I did get in 4, but you don't know if, because that bud has to break. It's dormant.
okay.
Remember when I brought the plant into the studio and I showed you how you had to cut off the top once
Yeah.
it started growing? So.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, finger crossed. But I'm hoping I can get one for the next auction, too.
Well, with the
That'd
weather
be
we're
nice.
having next week, it might break next week.
They might. Some of the buds were a little further along, and they had, on different roses, you could see they had already started. So I know those will take.
When is it going to rain, Mr. Weatherman? Yeah, San Diego.
Nothing in sight. We're looking
No.
at temperatures in the 80s
Oh,
again
come
next
on.
week.
Are you
That's what I said.
really?
That's why I said it might
Yeah.
be next week.
Yeah, but you said it kind of like, I thought you were like tongue in cheek.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't. Like, the roses should stay dormant
So
through
we're
the
going to
winter.
go back to the 80s for
Yep.
Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful.
I love these people who must be listening to us in these colder climates,
Yeah.
i.e. John's brother. We're
Yeah.
complaining about the heat. What do you mean it's going to be 80 degrees in Thanksgiving? They're like, we'll take it. We'll take 80 degrees.
Well, you saw
Get us out of here.
Yeah, you saw the picture of my brother's house.
Yeah. It looked like a Christmas card, really.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was a lot of snow.
And then it was just awesome to see Brian's face because I kind of knew the area, so I was like, once it snows there, it's snowing. It stays. You like you say, it's not going to go away
Right.
until March.
Like Gina in Idaho, it snowed there last week,
But it goes away.
The next day it's gone, right?
Yeah, and they can have a beautiful sunny week.
Yeah.
And then they'll get a
Which
little
was my
snow.
question to you, but you said no.
No.
No,
that
not
snow's
northern
gonna stay.
Michigan, yeah.
Yeah, it's staying
It's like
there.
Buffalo. Not
Buffalo,
quite
yeah,
as
they-
bad as Buffalo, but it's not gone the next day.
They moved the game to Detroit, right,
Yep.
Tiger?
Yeah, I
Buffalo,
think-
and Buffalo's
and-
playing who?
Browns.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I
4
they-
feet of snow.
It's 2 teams that are used to playing the snow. They should have just had them play.
Yeah, our friend Jimmy in Oceanside got up early today.
Oh,
Showing
good
4 of my
morning.
favorite products, he says.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What products do you have over there, Tiger?
So let's say we've got the Natural Guard Humic product, which is a great soil conditioner.
These are Fertilome products,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And
Now,
we
Fertilome's not available in the box stores, or it is?
no, it is not. They're
Okay, so you got to go to
purely-
your local garden center.
purely independent garden centers.
Got it.
We've talked about John and Bob's Soil Optimizer a
right.
lot. It's a great product as well. This is Fertilome's product, Humic. It's a soil conditioner, so you just simply add this granular product. It also comes in liquid to your soil, and then it kind of activates it, just like the John and Bob's product does, where you're feeding the soil, you're conditioning the soil, which will then in turn make your plants healthy and strong. We had George on a while back and talked
2
about
weeks
worm
ago.
casting.
Right.
This would be a similar thing to that, where you're adding a nutrient with some life to the soil, so therefore your plants and roots are going to be healthier just by that. It's not a fertilizer, it's not a nitrogen, phosphorus, potash product, but it does condition the soil.
And you're feeding the soil,
Yep.
not the plant necessarily. The plant takes up what you fed the soil with.
Yeah, exactly. One of my most favorite products is the slug and snail bait. That product there also, what's the other? Sluggo Plus. Sluggo Plus would be, some people might be familiar with that product. The slug and snail bait is comparable to Sluggo Plus. So do you remember the active ingredient for the snails?
Iron sulfate.
Iron sulfate's the active
Right.
ingredient for the slug and snails.
Which is
but
a
it also,
fertilizer, so it's definitely safe.
yeah.
Safe
But it
for
also has
children and
spinosad.
pets.
But it also has spinosad in it, which is great for the chewing insects when
Right.
you're putting down product as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask for a snail bait or slug bait that's safe in vegetable gardens. You got kids.
Right.
And what was the, you remember That's It?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's It was a product that definitely worked, but it didn't last on the shelves in California too much. I don't even know if it exists anymore.
Oh, probably not, because the metaldehyde was
Yeah.
way too high a percentage.
Yeah, you a little uncomfortable with that camera on you for all this time?
Oh.
John?
Oh,
I'll move it.
what's Tiger doing?
No, the camera loves John, so I wanted to make sure you're not.
I
not-
took
you're
it. I
not too
took it off of
uncomfortable.
auto director, and so now I'll put
That's
back
it
on.
was a product I had an argument with someone about.
Really?
once. Yeah.
And John, you threw up your arms. You said, "That's it.
That's
I'm
it.
out of here." Hey,
Yeah.
you want to tell that story after the break? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it a
Isn't
fun-
there an ice cream sandwich called That's It too?
It's it.
Oh,
It's
it's
It.
it. Okay, don't want to mix those two up.
Want to welcome our listeners on Biz Talk Radio listening to this pre-recorded show from last week. We're going to take a quick break. Back after these messages. More Facebook and your questions, comments on Facebook as well here on Garden America. Happy weekend to you. See, just like that on Facebook Live, we are back. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for supporting our sponsors. Speaking of that, I want to welcome in Fertilome for the 2023 season, sponsoring the show once again on Garden America. They are the reason we're going to be on in 2023, basically. So big thanks to Fertilome and all the connections there. That's Andrew, right?
Yep.
With Fertilome?
Yeah.
So thank you, Andrew. If you ever listen to this show or come across this little segment of the show, we appreciate your support for the last couple of years and heading into 2023. So John's got a story about That's It.
Yeah, I also want to welcome our international listeners, Muhammad and everyone else that's listening to the show.
Yeah, people around the world that we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
Because you get emails at various times from a town or a city, and I'm like, I never saw them on Facebook, or how
Yeah.
did they find us, or Biz Talk?
Right.
Really neat. Love hearing from them.
Anyway, so you
We
got
used
into
to,
an
when
argument.
we took live phone calls, we used to get phone calls from Australia, remember?
Yeah, we had a guy that was.
He said he couldn't sleep at night.
It was the next day.
Yeah.
He was in the future.
Yeah, he was. He was Mr. Future.
Did he tell you who won the football games?
But before you get to the quote, John, what about you said you slugged somebody in public?
No, I never said that. I said I had a disagreement. Maybe it wasn't an argument, more of a disagreement over the
Spirited
product.
debate.
That's It. And That's It was molluscicide that had a high percentage of, and I think it might have even been 10% metaldehyde, where regular snail baits had, 1%?
Yeah,
or
very
2%.
minimal.
So I was trying to tell them that I had put decollet snails out in my yard. And
The
I
ones
said-
that eat other snails.
Yeah. And I said, within 2 weeks, all my snails were gone. And I never had another problem, which is true. I lived in that house for 30 years and never had a snail problem because of it. But he says, oh, I just use That's It. He says it works better than decollet snails. And I said, well, first of all, I don't know how it can work better if I have no snails. And second of all, it's just not as effective. He goes, I know it's effective because I use it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, you use it all the time.
Yeah.
Why do you have to use it all the time?
exactly.
Yeah, it's
Because they keep coming back.
right. It doesn't do the job.
Yeah, those decollet snails are amazing.
They work, right?
Yeah.
Can you still get those?
Yes. Yeah. It's
I
only
need
the
some.
spring. It's only the spring time of year. I think that they're
You sell
usually
'em?
out and about. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because you just buy a little
And let 'em loose.
cup. The little cardboard cups. You drop them into the garden, and John. I mean, you used them before. Even after they've exhausted all the European snails, the classic
Right.
snails, you still see them come back, right? Like they just stay there.
They eat decaying material
Yeah.
after that.
if you have
so-
enough of that around, they will stay there. That's they're
Well,
not
but
gonna
nobody.
Go some,
But the thing, like we talk about ladybugs as an example, is once the ladybugs have exhausted their food source, they go away.
They fly away.
They go away. There's no reason for them to be there
Right,
anymore,
right.
and they go away.
Sure.
Well, with decollet snails, like John just said, if they've exhausted their snail population for eating,
They eat other things.
Yeah.
yeah, there's other things they eat and they stay around. So you never have a problem again. And what's so shocking
and then
to
they
people,
keep reproducing themselves, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
and then what's so shocking to people is that they're actually very fast acting too. you can drop them down into your garden, and within a few weeks,
They're not really any faster than other snails.
Well, but
I
you
mean,
know,
they move slow.
but what I'm saying
at
is,
a snail's pace.
You don't have to
But-
wait 2 or 3 days for them to start gobbling up.
That's what I was shocked about. I thought like over 2 or 3 months I
Yes,
would
you would
bring the
see-
population
right.
under control,
no.
but within 2 weeks,
Yeah, they're
virtually no
controlling it.
snails. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was getting at, because you put down nematodes and you're like, are these actually working? I don't know.
Hey, Jimmy says fertilome root stimulator on all transplants.
Ooh, like that one.
Some
huh?
of the things we're going to be talking about today. So thank you for that. That little shout out to fertilome.
We have the quote of the week first from your buddy Al.
Aline?
Al, what do we?
Aline,
One
yep.
mug.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
Right?
that what Einstein means?
Yeah.
One mug, one glass. Anyway, this quote's from Albert Einstein, and he said, "There's only 2 ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle."
No in between.
It's
All or
interesting.
nothing.
I think I have the same filter John has now, wanting to come back with a retort. Better left unsaid. Just don't say it.
Yeah.
I can think about it. I can entertain myself, but don't need to say anything.
Yeah.
When I was younger, that bothered me, that I would think of saying something, then I'd realize, no, don't say it. And I would mull that over for a few minutes. But now that I'm older, I think of it, I don't say it, and it's completely gone.
Yeah, right.
That thought
What
never
was it I
entered
was
my
going
head.
to say? Hey, Tony wants to know if those snail-eating snails are winter hardy.
They're not winter hardy, and I don't. Actually, I'm not sure if they're winter hardy or not.
I think they hibernate. I think they're one of those things that go dormant.
Right, they estivate.
Can
Isn't
you
it-
say that on the
Is
radio?
that how you say it, where they just kind of go into the ground? And
Right,
stay?
they're dormant. I think, if I'm
The
correct,
process of
it's-
estivation is what you're referring to.
Yeah, I think that snails estivate.
Yeah.
It was like hibernating for mollusks. But in California, they're only legal in the 7 southern counties.
Mhm.
So that's something you'd have to look up.
And
Yeah,
the
because-
reason they would not be legal, what are they afraid of?
They're an invasive species in some.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, what they're
Well, then you don't need them then if they're invasive because they're there anyway.
well, they're not really invasive. That's not the problem. The problem is that they will attack other snails other than the European brown snail.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there's
they're non-selective.
Right, so there are native California species of snails that are somewhat endangered. If you put in decollete snails, they would wipe them out.
Yeah.
And much like we've talked about gophers, we want to save those snails because what do they do for us in the environment?
Because you're in
snails do.
California.
Yeah.
No, it says it all right
It's
there. huh?
like snail darters.
What?
We have 6 in the Sacramento River, and the entire state goes on water restrictions, so we can dump half our water supply to keep these 6 alive.
And there you go. John Bagnasco, right? At gardenamerica.com. Let's see. So I think we've answered.
Okay, Carla wants
Questions?
to know, before we start talking about these products, Tiger,
Okay.
are they available at Armstrong's?
Great question. I don't know. I don't know if they're available at Armstrong's or not.
And you
I
know
don't
what
think
is
so,
sa-
but I could be wrong.
what's sad is that Carla says that's the only garden center near her
Really?
in Huntington Beach,
Really?
and Orange County and L.A. County used to be loaded with independent garden centers, and so many of them are just out of business now.
Well, I mean, the property. That's the
yeah,
the
that's
thing
what
about-
happened is the kids grow up and they,
Like,
they
oh.
go, "Hey, we own this property.
Wow.
Do you know what it's worth?"
Yeah, right. We can put a
Yeah.
tower on top of this thing and make some money. Yeah, that's tough. But I will say that it is available. These products are available online. I mean, there's a lot of websites that will, obviously ship them to you.
Do you ship those?
I think we ship some of them. I don't know.
Probably
all
not
of-
heavy bags.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Some of the products, but not all of them.
We got to take a break real quick here.
All right.
Going to come back with our next segment. A break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. Next segment is a long segment, so plenty of time for your questions, your comments, and talking more about the Fertilome product. But wherever you want to take the show, those on Facebook Live, feel free to do so. questions, comments in the comment section as Garden America continues for your weekend here. It's a Saturday. Maybe it's a Sunday or Monday or Tuesday if you're listening back to this show because you went to our website and watched a previous show at gardenamerica.com. Okay, we are back. It is live on Facebook, pre-recorded on BizTalk Radio. Those on BizTalk Radio, we thank you for tuning in and supporting our sponsors. If you do want to watch us live, watch us and listen, you can go to our Facebook page. You don't have to have a Facebook account necessarily, and you can watch us live, Garden America Radio Show, on Facebook. 8 o'clock on the West Coast, 11 o'clock Eastern Time Zone every Saturday.
Perfect.
Got that out of the way.
All right. Next product?
Next product from Fertilome.
Yeah, so, for me, I also like products that are kind of combo products. I mentioned the slug and snail bait has spinosad in it. We've talked about spinosad on the show for a long time. It's a great product for chewing insects.
Is that
caterpillars.
garlic-based?
Huh?
Is it garlic-based?
No.
Spinosad is not garlic.
No, it's a bacteria, right?
It's yes, it's a
Spinosad A,
product
Spinosad
that's been
D.
synthesized from a bacteria like Bacillus thuringiensis.
And you should
or
spray it
something.
early morning or late evening to avoid direct contact on bees.
Yeah, or burning your foliage because it's an oil. Any oil-based spray, neem oil, spinosad, insecticidal soaps. You want to avoid spraying them in the middle of the day. But I like combo products because they work on a broad spectrum. You don't have to have a huge amount of products in your shed. So spinosad soap from Fertilome is one of those products where it has spinosad in it. So that's for your chewing insects like caterpillars, grasshoppers. What else is? I think leaf miners is part of their thing. But it's a soap also. So your insecticidal soap product that you maybe as well have for your sucking insects like your mealybug, aphids, scale, things like that. So it's a good combo product to have, and you use it just like you would a insecticidal soap. So you apply it weekly for about 6 to 8 weeks, and like you said, Brian, early morning application is kind of the best thing, or late evening, not heat of the day. And then after about 8 weeks, you can be washing off the plant, and now you have a nice, strong, healthy plant that should be bug-free. And the big thing is egg-free. The reason why we apply these products for 8 weeks is the insects have about a 8-week life cycle. And so you have eggs on that plant that are going to hatch in 8 weeks. And if you don't spray your product while they turn into that larvae adult form, these products don't work on eggs. They're meant to be They're meant to be safe to use. That's why they're kind of safer, more natural, more organic products. So you're not just killing everything like we just talked about with the That's It products. But at the same time, in order to be effective, you got to use them wisely. So I like that product because I think spinosad and the insecticidal soap covers most problematic insects. And, like we've talked about on the show before, a lot of times you can solve this by just washing off the plants, aphids and things like that. This is just to give you that extra little bit of help. Yeah.
Do you remember the story about where spinosad was found?
Yeah.
Do you say spinosad or spinosad?
I say spinosad. Just
Spinosad.
I do too.
Yeah.
Does some people say spinosad?
Yeah, a lot of people say spinosad. Some people say spinosad.
Because it's actually some spinos is the something involved in the first name of the bacteria, but then it's A and D that's why it's AD at the end. It's spinosad A and spinosad D.
Oh,
And
I never knew that.
let me see it. Let me see if it has it on here. Where's it at? Because, where it came from, rum barrels, right?
Well, a rum factory, they make rum out of sugar cane, right? And they would have these piles of sugar cane that they were composting, and there'd be flies, and insects buzzing all around them, except on this one pile, they found there was nothing. It was completely bug-free. And they discovered the spinosad or spinosad bacteria in that pile, and they were able to
Isolate that, right?
isolate it and reproduce it, and that's what the chemical
You
is.
know, a lot of what we use a lot of discoveries are because of accidents just like that. You're doing something else and you realize, wait, it's also doing this or not doing that.
It's electricity.
Right?
That's an accident waiting to happen.
Whoops. So, yeah, go ahead, Tiger.
Spinosad. It's a mixture of spinosin, because it's spino and then the synthetic
Right.
probably form of it, A, and spinosin D.
Ah.
That's where spinosad or spinosid, depending on tomato.
You know, kind of the same, but a little different subject matter. It's like our soil. You know, it used to be you buy soil, and then you have to buy all these additives to add to the soil.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the products we like, Fox Farms and soils like that, they have all those combination of things already in the soil.
Oh, potting soils.
Yeah,
you're
potting
talking
soil.
about.
Yeah, potting soil.
Well, even the planting mixes. You
Yeah,
know, they
planting
have
mix, right.
worm castings, cottonseed meal in them now.
Right.
Other compost besides. I mean, what were you talking about? Was it horse, or you mentioned some other animal manure the other day where it was the only farm around or something? Turkey.
Dry canor was the product.
What's it called?
Dry canor.
Dry canor is actually turkey manure.
Right. I don't know if it's still made. I never saw it anywhere except in Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit at Frank's Nursery.
Oh yeah. So
Gobble.
I'm sure there's some benefit to turkey manure.
We used to sell cow manure and sheep manure in equal amounts, pretty much.
Isn't horse manure the best seller though?
Yeah, I've never seen anyone sell horse
Straight
manure
horse
in
manure.
bags.
No. Yeah.
I remember as a kid, we had a gardener, and he was out there with these big bags, just kind of shaking the bag and walking up and down the lawn. And
The lawn,
Yeah.
overseeding like when they overseed the lawn.
yeah, but he was putting fertilizer on it.
I think
But-
it was probably steer manure.
Steer manure.
Right.
Yes.
Steer. Yeah, that's what they always used to overseed
Right.
the lawn with. was
Right,
steer manure.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was about 5 or 6. What are you doing? I'm putting manure on your lawn. I think I ran into the house and said, Mom,
Used to smell.
what's this guy doing to our lawn? He's putting poop on our lawn.
Was it you? Was it you that fertilized your indoor plants with?
with biosol. just on this one little plant. I was so excited about this stuff that John says, "Oh, this is great stuff." Nobody said not to use it indoors.
Yeah.
And
Smells
I
like
came
poop.
home from work and I went, "Oh my gosh, something died." It smelled like a rodent or a rat or something died in the house.
Yeah. A week ago.
Yeah, a week ago.
Yeah.
Took the plant outside. Yeah, the smell's gone. Told John, he goes, "No, you don't do that. You don't put biosol on indoor plants."
No fish emulsion or kelp meal also on your interior plants. Yeah.
I think I've told this story on the radio before about when my wife and I were first married. I was finishing up at Michigan State University, and we lived in an apartment. And I can't remember where we went, but we asked our neighbors in the apartment if they would water our houseplants for us while we were gone. And my wife used to work at Jim's Tiffany Place in Lansing, which was a Greek restaurant and was well known. But she'd be on her feet all day, and when she got home, her socks kind of smelled, right? And when we would play pinochle with our neighbors, they would say, "Don't take your shoes off," if she hadn't washed her feet. But anyway,
This is going somewhere, right?
it's going somewhere
Okay.
because we asked our neighbors to water our plants while we were gone, and I had it was called a purple passion plant, Gynura, which had fuzzy purple leaves. And it had flower buds on it when we left, and we came home, and I looked at all the plants. Everything looked good. And I asked my neighbor, "Did you have any problems?" And they said, "Oh, no, everything was fine." They said, "Except we searched the whole apartment for a pair of Shannon socks because something smelled really bad." And I never realized that when that plant bloomed, it smells really
Smells like
bad.
decaying.
Yeah.
And they were looking for the
Animal.
source of the smell and
They were
assumed
sure it was a
Shannon's
pair of my
socks.
wife's socks.
Oh man.
Sounds like, was she
Like
kind of
the
known
corpse
for this?
flower.
It sounds like she was kind of known for it,
Well, it's really weird because she's never had smelly feet her whole life.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It was the restaurant. Blame it on the restaurant.
Well, it was Greek food, who knows?
Oh, boy, here come the comments.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
I like Tony's comment. She says she washes and spins. She washes down her plants and then applies spinosad on them to fight against the
wash
chewing
and spin.
insects. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
She also mentioned that she was in Palm Springs. Now I'm trying to think, is that Palm Springs, California or Florida? She's
Oh,
on
there's-
vacation.
There's another one?
Isn't there a Palm Springs in Florida?
I don't know. I know there's a Hollywood, Florida.
Maybe it's Palm Beach in Florida.
Well, there's a Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, I know Palm Beach.
Well, she
Okay,
says Palm Springs and it's cold. That would make sense, the desert this time of the year.
Oh, yeah. it
Out
gets
there,
cold at
very
night.
cold. Could be in the low 40s.
Not
for all
during
we
the
know.
day, though, right?
No, it's beautiful.
No, it's going to
during
warm
the
up.
day.
It'll warm up into the 70s, though. That's what's nice about Palm Springs this time of
Yeah.
the year. Maybe 80.
Yeah.
Hey, we have to take a break. We have one more segment if you're tuned in on Biz Talk Radio before the top of the hour news, so stay with us. We'll come back for those on Facebook Live. More questions, more comments, and a lot of people watching us this morning on Facebook Live. We do appreciate it. I'm Brian Main along with John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. All right, we are back. Those on Biz Talk Radio. This is the final segment of hour number one. Hopefully you carry hour number two. We'll be back at 6 minutes after, if you do. For the rest of us on Facebook, it's just one big, long show
Yeah.
with brief breaks here and there. But this is our final segment for hour one on Biz Talk Radio.
So, a couple things that maybe we didn't bring in. John, you really like Osmocote as a fertilizer.
He puts it on everything. All my roses, when he gave me the
Yeah.
roses,
Yeah.
Osmocote.
I like the convenience of it. I mean, I have just too many plants to use anything else.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have all the container plants, I wouldn't use Osmocote.
Okay. Well, is there a fertilizer that you would say you would like to use?
No, I'd like
Over-
not to have any container plants.
Oh.
My favorite fertilizer was Biosol,
Mhm.
but now it's not available. And there's a new one now, not new, but one that I can get through the San Diego Rose Society, and I think it comes from Growmore.
Uh-huh.
Is it called? I'll have to look up the name because I was going to ask you if you carried it,
Yeah,
if it
we
was something that had to be special ordered.
Yeah.
Comes in 50-pound bags.
Okay. And it's a grow more product. Is it a water soluble or granular?
No, it's kind of it's granular. It would be
Okay.
similar to a Biosol type
Oh,
product,
okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I've just never tried it before.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, fertilizer is kind of a afterthought. I mean, obviously we love Milorganite, Grow Power, the organic fertilizers. I'm more just kind of like we talk about, just feeding the soil. So I'll
Right.
whatever I kind of I don't really lock in on one. I just kind of like put in a variety, but they're all organic, so therefore they're all eventually going to be used in some way by the plant. I do really like to fertilize now going kind of through the winter because it waters it in with rain, and that's the one thing in San Diego that is tough with fertilizing is in the summer months, unless you have overhead sprinklers or unless you're watering overhead and you're using granular fertilizers, they don't water in as well because we don't have any rain through those summer months, and it just kind of
Now you're talking about organic fertilizers, right? You
Yeah.
don't want to use chemical fertilizers this time of year on certain plants.
yeah, that's true.
Like you wouldn't want to feed citrus this time of year
Yeah,
or any tropicals, really.
because then you're pushing out growth.
Right, and you don't have as much problem where you are
No.
because you're close to the coast. But anybody that's a little bit inland can have frost damage.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the plants that will respond to that, fast growing, very thin leaves. This is the time of year when you want those nice, tough leaves on the plant going into the
Right.
stem, so that way if there is frost, they just get a little bit of burn, and then that's it. Not a big deal.
Do you carry at your nursery Gardenia vietnamensis?
Yes.
You
Yes.
do?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have a little one that I'm going to just stick into the ground,
Mhm.
and if it dies, then I know I can come get one from you.
Yeah.
It's a Gardenia native to Vietnam.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed that by
Yeah.
the name.
You know, it's funny. I was at a home in San Carlos area here in San Diego, which it's not quite inland San Diego. It's still kind of on the border.
You can't walk to the beach from there, though.
No, right?
Right.
Well, there's
and-
beach, coast, inland, mountains,
Yeah.
desert, right?
Yeah,
All of those
exactly.
microclimates, if you want to call them
Right.
that.
And so I was at this house, and gardenias, you know, they could be a little bit fickle. And she had 8 gardenias. 2 of them were just, I think, mystery gardenias, regular mystery plant
Right.
gardenias. And then the other 6 of them were a variety of grafted, I think, mystery and August Beauty. I can't remember. There's a name of one that has August in the name.
Yeah,
of it.
August Beauty's one.
Okay. Those grafted gardenias were doing so much better than the standard. In the grafted gardenias, it's a gardenia plant, but it's grafted on the African gardenia rootstock.
Right, Gardenia thunbergii.
Yeah.
Is that more hardy?
Way more hardy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it turns into a large shrub. And the flowers are kind of all right, and the foliage is all right. But when you take, you know, your August Beauty or your Mystery, which is a beautiful horticulture gardenia for your garden, and put it on this rootstock, it was shocking to see the difference of these, you know, regular gardenias that, you know, are not grafted, and then these are the ones that grafted and what they could do, because you know, they were just thriving compared to these other plants.
Just based on the graph.
Just based on the graft. You know, and John talks about that with roses a lot, where, you know, Fortuniana rootstock,
Right.
you mention a lot, and how
Right.
that'll change the plant itself. And just to see it side by side was amazing, you know, because you don't always get a chance to see those things kind of side by side.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty cool.
The Gardenia veitchii is the ever-blooming
Yeah.
gardenia. And when I first moved to California, it would always be in the shade house. And everybody would say that gardenias need to be grown in the shade. And I was shocked the first time I went to Phoenix and I saw gardenias in full sun. It's
Yeah.
like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I think it's the veitchii, though. The mystery gardenia, which is the larger flower, the florist gardenia, really does require a little bit more shade.
Yeah. But yeah, that VGI, and then there's a few off of that are, you know, what they call, do they call them ever-blooming gardenias? Or
That's the veitchii. It's
Yeah.
ever blooming. But then there's
more
also
hardy.
Gardenia radicans, which is the little dwarf
Mm.
kind of ground covery type.
Uh-huh.
And I think there's some of those that have, some might even have variegated leaves. I'm
Ooh,
not sure.
cool. Yeah.
Lila says that Gardenia thunbergii is a small tree at her house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it gets those seed pods
Yeah.
on it that look like, they're about the size of it. They look like that football on your
Yep.
desk there, Brian.
That big, huh?
Yeah.
They're that size, just about.
Yeah.
They don't have the laces on them or the pigskin, but
Not the dimples of the
Right.
Yeah.
pigskin.
No laces or dimples.
yeah.
But they're about that size.
We got about a
All
minute
right.
till
You had
the
another product?
next break. Yeah, real quick.
So one of the products that we used to talk about a lot back in the day with Bayer was the Bayer tree and shrub systemic. You know, whenever you have hedgerow or tree and they had a bug problem, it was nice to use a systemic because you couldn't always spray the plant. Well, again,
Because
Fertilome,
it translocates, right? Is that right?
the tree and shrub systemic, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a systemic product, which means you put it into the soil, the roots absorb it, and then it protects the tree or shrub from the inside. And we'll talk more about it when we get back.
Yep, we're going to take a break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, news coming up. We do hope you have hour number 2, or at least your market does carry hour 2. The rest of us on the Facebook Live, We're going to be right back quicker than you can say Garden America radio show. So do stay with us. Hour 2 coming up, Biz Talk Radio. More Facebook Live. I'm Brian Main, John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox here. Happy weekend prior to Thanksgiving with your friends on Garden America. And welcome back to Garden America. If you're just joining us, welcome. Where have you been? We're happy to see you. Happy to have you on board, whether it's Biz Talk Radio or Facebook Live. We're going to continue. No guest today. We are your guests. John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox, Brian Main. Tiger, you want to finish up what we were doing prior to the break and prior to the news on Biz Talk?
Yeah, so the Fertilome tree and shrub is systemic insecticide, so that means you use water, mix it in, water the plant with it. The roots absorb it, goes through the plant, translocates, as Brian had mentioned, and then it protects the tree or shrub from the inside out. So you have maybe 6-8 months of protection from things like aphids, mealybugs, scale, and there's a long list of other insects it works against. The benefit of that is when you have a large hedge or tree, you can't always spray the overall plant. So this is a good way to combat that. The one thing I do really like about Fertilome products is that, I mentioned this is similar to a Bayer product that you can find as well. But because Fertilome is dedicated to small independent garden centers, and because they kind of pick and choose their product mix, they actually are less expensive than the same product from other brands. We can talk about, like, let's say Roundup. Roundup is a product that's been around. It's imidacloprid, right? No, imidacloprid is a tree and shrub.
Right, glyphosate.
Glyphosate. So Roundup is a glyphosate. Years ago, Roundup lost its patent on it. So now there's a lot of people that have the same product as Roundup,
right,
but under different names.
Oh, you mean like Viagra?
Exactly. Okay.
Just want to bring that home to some people to understand what we're talking about.
So, Fertilome, they do have a glyphosate product as well, but you're going to find it less expensive. So you're buying the same exact product, but you're paying less money for it.
I could have said like a standard prescription as well.
Exactly. So
But it was one of the times where you didn't filter yourself.
Filter. Yes. As I got to thinking about that, you could have just said prescription medicine.
Yeah. But so, where Roundup is going to carry the name, the marketing, the branding with the name, which is going to drive up the price of that product, other companies can release these products, and they are the exact same thing. They're imidacloprid, they're glyphosate, they're pyrethrins, whatever it may be. But Fertilome, they keep their prices low. And so, there's a product out there called Nutgrass Annihilator.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, great product. It's a nut sedge product. It's a chemical. It's very effective against nutgrass. Well, Fertilome has the same product, but I've seen it on the shelves, and it's half the price, just because they just
some people have it in their mind though to stick to the name brand.
Yeah.
I got to have the name brand. It's much better. We got to stick to that name brand when that's not always the case.
Yeah, especially when you're working with chemicals, because whether it's a name brand with, it says right there on the bottle, 4% glyphosate or whatever it is, so it's the same chemical. It doesn't matter what the name on the package is.
They still have the
outside.
same standards they have to adhere to.
Yeah.
Like you say, with the amount that's in there, the different variations of ingredients, so on and so forth.
So anyways, that's another good reason to look for the Fertilome products out there.
Right. They do just as good and cheaper.
Yeah. Did we have a question?
Well, we had a comment from Jimmy. He said that speaking of soil, when he saw the Bill Tall episode, it reminded him of the times that Bill would deliver 25 cubic yards of a custom blend that he made.
Yeah.
Up to Jimmy.
Yeah.
And he said he still has several 1 cubic foot bags that he got from him but he didn't know that he had passed away.
Oh yeah.
So he said that was really sad. He said they went to the same clinic in Del Mar.
Oh, that I mean, soil mixes are that's the gardener's secret recipe, right?
Right.
They go, oh, I mix this manure with pumice or with this or add this fertilizer, and that's what makes my plants do well. So it's always fun when you're working with that soil mix recipe
And then Jimmy is asking, what is the name?
of.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. The comment was there just after you were talking about.
Oh,
The
okay.
product you said was
Yeah.
generic.
Oh, the tree and shrub.
Right.
It's called
Okay.
tree and shrub from Fertilome. Let's see here. Yep. Fertilome tree and shrub systemic insect drench, and that is imidacloprid is the active ingredient, just like you'll find in a lot of other systemic plants. Now, Bayer, I forget what they switched to. Bayer. No, they're not Bayer.
Yeah, what are they now?
BioAdvance.
They're
BioAdvance.
yeah.
They also have a systemic citrus, which is to be used on edible fruit trees. And the difference in that is that their concentrate is less. It's the same product, but they just put less of it in the bottle, I guess. So it's just a lower amount of concentration of that same product for their systemic products as well. So, with the systemics, people ask about using it in containers and then on things like, for instance, a rose or other plants. Yeah, you can use them on these other plants. In containers, you do have to, I think, be very careful because I've heard because it's in a container, the concentration can maybe burn the plant a little bit, I guess. I don't know. They just say to be very careful when using it in containers because you don't want to apply too much in a container since the ground, it can go
There's
away.
not-
It can leach out. But in the container, it's all
It can't
in
go
there.
that far. It's
Yeah.
it's contained.
Exactly.
Container.
I don't think it's the chemical that causes the burning in
Oh.
a container. It's the fertilizer.
Oh, okay. So it was like the 2-in-1s or whatever
Right.
fertilizer products.
Right. So you do have to watch the amount that you add, but mainly because of the fertilizer is meant to be distributed in the ground, not a container. So there's a different dilution for a container.
Oh, okay.
Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense. Yes, looking at these comments.
The last product that I have from
Yeah, go ahead.
Fertilome that I want to share is one called Triple Action. And so the Triple Action is a insecticide, fungicide, and miticide. So again, I like these combo products that you can buy and you don't have to have a whole bunch of products in your shed. Because it's an insecticide, miticide, fungicide, it's a topical spray like neem oil, like spinosad, but with the fungicide aspect of it. So if you have plants that are susceptible to rust or powdery mildew or sooty mold, and you have aphids and you have scale and you have mealybugs, it's a great product to use. And, for those of you that do get spider mite, it can be used on that as well. So, the Triple Action is a good product. Again, it's an oil-based spray, so you do have to be careful using it in the heat of the day. You want to apply it once a week for about 8 weeks, and just make sure that you're watering and keeping the plant healthy between applications. Ideally, the way to apply these products, whether it's spinosad or neem oil or the pyrethrins or any of these things, is to wash off your plants, let them dry, come back, apply the product, the spray, onto the plant, tops and bottoms of the leaf, because a lot of times bugs will be, whiteflies on the bottom of the leaf. And if you're just applying it to the top, it's not going to be as effective. Let it set for a week, come back a week later, again, wash off the plants, because a lot of people don't, the bugs don't always just go away. Mealybug especially, specifically, you'll just see it still there, even though it's dead. Well, if you wash off the plant, you're washing off all the dead bugs and stuff, and now you can see the progress that you're making a little bit better. But you do want to keep applying for 8 weeks, like I said, because then the eggs that are hatching, you don't allow the insects to get a foothold and come back.
The product that I was trying to think of the name from
Oh, for the
Growmore
fertilizer?
is called BioStart.
BioStart. Okay.
Do you?
I
have you
don't.
heard
I
of
don't.
that?
I haven't seen it.
I wonder
so,
if it's something special that they only make up one time a year. Or,
Yeah, I'll have to look for it.
I don't know. It's about $40 for a 50-pound bag.
I'll look into it for you.
So I need 10 bags.
Right.
Can you
10
bring them
bags?
next week?
Okay, we're going to take this opportunity to take a break here for our friends on Biz Talk Radio and our sponsors. A big shout out, a big thank you to Fertilome sponsoring Garden America for next year, 2023. Do appreciate that. Do stay with us. Plenty of time, by the way, for your questions, your comments on Facebook Live. Keep them coming. We'll do our best. I'm Brian Main, along with Tiger Palafox, John Begnasco, back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Welcome back to the show as we continue with our Q&A, questions, answers, comments on Facebook Live. And again, we are broadcasting from San Diego, California, as always, in case you're just wondering, where are all those guys? Where do they broadcast from? The iHeart Media and Entertainment Studios in San Diego.
Well, you've got a big sign behind you that says 101 KGB, San Diego's world-class rock.
Would you like me to turn it on? Just for you.
Whoa. We're on Facebook. They might.
Yeah,
Shut us
Facebook
down.
will shut us down.
No, we're not advertising anything.
Yeah.
You still see it.
Oh, you're turning
Right.
on.
Oh,
I
turning
thought you were
on.
going to
Oh,
turn
I,
on.
Oh, no.
I thought you were turning on John.
No, not going to.
No, I thought you were going to do the
No,
music.
so the next time that there's a shot of me, you'll see it behind me. I usually turn it on during the week. It's just one of our many stations here. 7 stations here in San Diego in the same building.
Yeah. Hey,
Paula
John.
wanted to know the name of the product that kills nutsedge.
Well, the common one is nutgrass annihilator from Fertilome. I think it's just nutsedge killer. Like
They're not that creative with their names.
They are not, because a lot of times they come in after the fact with the marketing. So they're just that's why you can get it for less. Is
What do you want to call it, Bob? What is it? Nutsage. Kills things. Nutsage killer.
yeah, exactly.
Ortho used to be like that. What's it? Kills insects? Bug be gone.
Bug.
Yeah, bug be gone.
Kills weeds? Weed be gone.
Yeah. One of the things I did want to mention about products, and again, we're talking about people's sheds, keeping products. And you mentioned Ortho, and Ortho used to have those brown glass bottles for their products. And
Right.
Skull and crossbones.
the reason why they had to have it in that brown glass bottle was because it did begin to break down.
Light, the ultraviolet light coming through the bottle would break
Same
it
principle with beer bottles.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they were in brown for a long time. Yeah,
Could be.
but nowadays they put them into plastic, bottles, and I'm sure they preserve much better. But it is a general rule that if a product has been used, so once you've kind of break in that seal of use, that about a year or 2 years is kind of the shelf life in your shed, and then after that, it's becoming less and less effective, and you maybe, you want to get rid of it and start over again. So I tell people to make sure that you do use their products regularly, because you don't want to be going into your shed and seeing something 3 or 4 years old and it not be effective anymore.
There are exceptions, though.
Yeah, I mean,
if you have DDT, it's just as good as the day you bought it 60 years ago.
Yes, it is.
Well, in a lot of these products, like I mentioned, it's a bacteria. I mean, I don't know if that one necessarily breaks down like a normal chemical would. It might.
They're usually not living bacteria.
Yeah.
They're chemicals derived from the chemical that bacteria produces. So
it's a derivative, is it?
Yes, exactly. It's a derivative.
Hey, Keith has a question. Oh, wait a second. Where are we? Rick and then Keith. You see those, John?
Well, Keith in Point Loma, Tiger, wanted to know what to use to treat his silvery crinkled lemon tree leaves.
Silvery crinkled lemon tree.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like he's got mites.
Yeah, it sounds like silvery citrus mite.
Yeah, yeah. So that would be the triple action because it has the miticide in it.
Right.
Or
you could probably use an oil too, right? Suffocate them.
Do you think just like a horticultural oil or like a insecticidal soap? What do you think?
I would maybe a horticultural oil, but I think the triple action would be best.
Yeah.
If you're
Well-
worried about, if there's fruit on the tree and you're worried about that, you could just go ahead and use the oil. I
And
think.
being in Point Loma, I'm sure he has fungal issues like mildew and other things like that because coastal. So that'd be a good product to have just in general for him is the triple action because it's the miticide, fungicide, and you do get the insecticide for it. So that would be my suggestion, Keith, is the triple action.
Rick said he turned in late and wanted to know if you talked about humic acid.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about the humic product right there from Fertilome and how good it is for the soil and how we use it. I like to apply it all in the wintertime again just because it waters in during the winter. And, again, you're just activating the soil. You're not fertilizing or you're just amending at that point. The way I kind of describe humic acid for people is imagine a bunch of compost that you get delivered to your home and you're going to spread all over your garden. Mm-hmm. Imagine if you can just buy that in a 20-pound bag and then just apply it with granules. That's what I tell people it's like doing. So easy to do.
Yeah, the humic acids are what the living organisms in the soil need to function.
Yeah.
And it allows the uptake of nutrients into plants and things like that. So the benefits are just jump-starting the whole organic process, the circle of life that you like to call it, Brian.
Yeah, the Lion King.
Yeah.
That's where I learned about that.
Yeah.
Our buddy Ping Lim, by the way, has put out a new rose called the Lion King.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He call it. Wow.
Can he do that?
Yeah. Disney allow that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we'll see what
We'll
happens.
see.
Usually,
Might get a phone call after the show. We'll see.
well, usually you can go ahead and you can name plants after songs, and even if there's trademark songs, movies,
Really?
because it's a different category. Nobody's going to confuse plants with a movie.
Right.
But there's certain companies, Disney being one of them, that put a stop to that.
Yeah.
And because in the 50s, I think it was, there were two Floribunda roses that came out. One was Jiminy Cricket, and the other was Pinocchio. And Disney threatened lawsuits, and the company said, well, this is allowed. And Disney's answer was, we know it's allowed, and we also know that we have more lawyers than you do.
Yeah. Exactly.
So how much do you want to so they just stopped the practice.
You would think, well, anytime you're making money on intellectual property, like we can't use NFL, World Cup, Final Four in the spots that we do. It's trademarked.
Right.
And your first inclination is you think they'd like it because you're advertising for them.
Right.
But with bars that want to show these games on TV, you're bringing people in and using those trademark names to make money.
Right.
Just like I cannot use any song I want to on a commercial. It's intellectual property. So I have to use something from our licensed library that we have at iHeart.
Yeah, not to pick only on Disney, but you bring up the NFL, and they're another one.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to start using NFL names.
Buccaneer Rose.
Put it this way.
There is a Buccaneer Rose,
Our government,
but not Tampa Bay
our
Buccaneers.
government is afraid of the NFL.
Yeah.
They're powerful
With good reason.
with very good reason. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want, can you imagine linebackers storming the Capitol?
Oh, God.
Well, we don't need to get into that, right?
Oh.
Now, let's take a break. We're close to a break.
Okay.
All right.
So we have two more segments coming up. We're going to take a break with more of your questions, your comments on Facebook Live. It is Garden America. Yes, just about a week before Thanksgiving 2022. Do stay with us. We'll be back next week. But until then, we have two more segments. Do stay with us. Pausing for this break, these messages on Biz Talk Radio. All right, we are back. It is Garden America on your Saturday if you're listening to us, watching us live. Otherwise, you can go back to our Facebook page, watch any archive shows. Go to our website, though, gardenamerica.com, as I mentioned, or you can go to our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. Like and subscribe and share.
Somebody had mentioned earlier I can't remember. I think it might have been Jimmy about the Fertilome root stimulator was one of their favorite products for transplanting.
Yeah,
and-
so Fertilome product, right?
and
at the top of the show.
Yeah, and I will say though, another product that I keep is the HB 101.
Oh,
I really like that for transplanting, for plants that are in shock. And what I've started to do too, and again, I think I mentioned this before, and there's really no science behind it besides my own success, is whenever I have a plant that is under stress from usually like overwatering, so it's dealing with some root rot issues.
right.
When I apply the HB 101 to it, it will get it out of that funk, and it'll start to
It
grow
wakes
better.
it up.
Yeah, and so
From peak of depression.
I like that.
Funk annihilator, right?
yeah. So that's another product I have in my shed that I use pretty regularly, and I always have it. Is the HB 101?
I recommended it to somebody here last week.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my whatever it was, not looking so good. It's not dead. It's just I recommended HB 101.
Yeah.
Well, the 150 bare root roses I got in this week.
Okay.
Before I potted them, I soaked them in a bucket of HB 101.
Did you?
Right.
So that whole classic, fill it with the HB, put the roots in there, bare root style.
Right.
Because we used to do that a lot with Super Thrive back in the day when we got in our bare root supplies.
Just
we
soaked
would,
them,
We
huh?
would soak them or dip them in Super Thrive and then plant them that way.
There was no reason to do that,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, exactly. That's, yeah.
Hey, my brother Dave says that great show, Brian. He said
Yeah.
he's joining late because he was out shoveling snow.
Well, good luck, Dave. Because
Well, didn't you tell him
there's
it's not going to
there's
do any good because it'll just keep coming back?
Yeah, I was going to say there's no amount of shoveling you can do that's
Now,
going to
he
decrease
must have a
your-
huge snowblower tractor kind of a thing,
But
right?
he had some fun facts for you. He
Okay.
said Torch Lake is 3 miles wide
Oh,
and 19 miles long.
oh.
Kind of
big
a
lake.
Loch Ness monster thing going on there, right?
Yeah.
Well, it depends how deep it is.
He
Because
said it's
those sea
over
creatures,
over 300 feet deep.
probably deep enough for Nessie.
He said National Geographic rated it one of the 10 most beautiful inland lakes in the world,
Oh.
but then in parentheses said the article is yet to be found. So it could just be one of those tales that gets passed
Around
around.
Torch Lake.
Right. But, Tony verified it that it's beautiful. So
The more I hear about Torch Lake, it kind of reminds me that movie Groundhog Day, that city that was based in. I feel like that's what the city's going to be like if you arrive in
Puxatawny.
Torch. Yeah.
Puxatawny what?
Puxatawny Phil.
Phil, thank you.
Right.
Is that the name of the city? Puxatawny?
Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that's what the city's like at Torch Lake. Everybody's walking down the street and say hi to each other, and real small town.
Hey, Phil, how you doing? Hi, Bob. How are you? Hello, Timmy. How's your father? Here's your paper, sir.
Yeah.
Real kind of. That's how
Yeah.
Pacific Beach used to be here in San Diego. It was so quaint.
Now
It was
nobody-
the pet store, Woolworths, the barber shop, and wow, culture change in the last 40 years.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned this a while back, but with Google Earth, you can go on. You can see anything you want
Yeah.
anywhere.
I've actually watched you work with your roses.
Tiger did with his phone the other day.
Yeah, that was a little creepy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hey, hi, John. How you doing?
Oh,
That's
I
a
waved
nice-
to him. It was nice.
That's a nice green shirt you have on.
But I grew up in Detroit, and they were 40-foot lots, which is probably some of the PB homes were like that, right? Were they that close together?
No, there was separation. There was.
Really?
I mean, you had your fence house, an alley. We weren't crammed together.
Yeah, we had alleys in the back of the house. But anyway, we have a little 40-foot lot, and I remember going out with my dad, and, back then they had foundation plantings. Everybody would, that's
the
the way
base
you
of the
landscaped,
house.
right?
Yeah.
And my dad and I planted a Colorado blue spruce. So that would have been, let's see, I think I was like 6 years old.
So you're probably
so that would have been
1953
over
or 4?
65 years ago.
53, 54?
Yeah, right around then. And it was kind of a big deal, because it was a status symbol to get a blue spruce.
Oh.
So
The Bagnoscos are doing very well these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, look at that.
so on Google Earth, I went and just looked up the old house, and I
There's no
saw
house?
that blue spruce is still there.
I was gonna say there's no house.
But,
It's just
you
a blue
planted it.
spruce.
Yeah, but it's probably 5 times as high as the
Yeah.
house.
Well, sure. By this
And
time,
it was a 2-story house, so it's huge.
well, how
It's
close were you able?
gigantic.
Awesome.
How close were you able to get in to see detail? Because with Google Earth, you get pretty close, and it starts to get.
Well,
a
the
little
thing was, away
pixelated.
from the foundation, we must have planted it 3 feet from the
Oh, wow,
foundation.
that's not very far.
Yeah. So it was just amazing to see something like that.
little history.
You would think somebody would have cut it down, long
Yeah.
before that.
But then that's the thing, right? Is that when trees pass that almost, I wouldn't say critical age, but when trees pass the point, because people get to the point where they're like, I don't want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of that tree. They buy a home, they're like,
Right.
that's too big. I don't like it. Then they get an arborist come out and they go, oh, no problem. We'll take care of that for $3,000, $4,000. Like, oh,
You know what? That tree looks
that
pretty
tree
good.
looks pretty good,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I'm gonna keep that tree. And
Yeah.
if that happens over a while, eventually it's like
Not going
no,
anywhere.
it's not going anywhere. So if somebody just skipped over that time when it was only maybe $1,000 to pull out that tree, then it's there. It's there forever. Then, right?
But
So-
that is very cool to look at that and say,
That is
I
neat.
planted that, 60 some odd years ago.
Yeah.
You should
I
go
was,
and put your name on it.
I was looking on Facebook the other day, and somebody said that it's amazing that people can remember their childhood phone numbers,
Oh yeah.
but forget the password they used yesterday.
That is true. We were 619-488-7302.
See, I was Kenwood 54447.
Well, before that, you bring up a good point. We were Hudson 8,
Yeah.
7302.
Yeah, it exchanges.
619-561-9768.
I can even recall phone numbers of my friends in
No, I
grade
can't
school.
do that. No way.
No, I
was
can't
not,
do that.
I was not that kid. That
The
called.
Marshalls were 488-1551.
Yeah, I was the kid that just went over to their house.
We
Well,
lived
no,
sister-
we did too.
My
but-
sister was on the phone all the time.
Well, you girls do that.
Well, that's why you never learned any numbers.
Yeah,
You could never use
I could never
the phone.
use the phone. Yeah.
We lived in Detroit, 19, Michigan.
We were San Diego 9, California.
Really?
Before the zip codes were 92109.
Right.
It was just 9. San Diego 9, California.
Wow. Yeah, no, I've always been.
There's a comma in there. San Diego 9, comma. CA.
So Eminem lives a quarter mile north of your brother. As you watch and keep up with the conversations
Oh,
on
you could
Facebook.
walk over to Eminem's house.
Yeah.
Marshall Mathers, right? Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, right.
That's who you're talking about? I thought I didn't know.
No, not the
I thought
candy.
Eminem was someone else.
No,
that did it
Eminem.
together.
Like Yo-Yo.
Oh, okay.
No, you know the rapper.
Yeah, the
right?
rapper.
Eminem, yeah.
Yeah. He lives in Torch Lake.
Quarter mile from my brother's house. You
Yeah.
could walk to it, Tiger.
Goodness gracious. Well, not now. Nobody's walking anywhere now.
Well, you might be able to do a quarter mile, but I think Kid Rock lives on the other side of the lake. So
Where it doesn't snow because snow's inconvenient.
So does it freeze? Only 300 feet deep. It kind of seems like it would freeze.
the lake does freeze, but I don't know if it freezes every year.
Yeah.
If you're interested, join us on Facebook and see. My brother will answer all
Yeah.
all your
comments about
questions
Torch
about
Lake.
the
Torch
lake,
Lake.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got nothing else to do today.
Yeah, stuck indoors.
Oh man, that's why people have such elaborate. What are they? The basements, the den, right back east.
The original man caves.
Right.
That's where
because
they came from.
They had to have space in the house where you can do things.
And then get creative.
Yeah.
What do you think we ought to do with the basement? I could bring a TV down here. I could hang posters of my favorite NFL teams.
Some dartboard,
Set up a
pool
bar.
table.
Have the guys over.
Yeah.
That was one of my first jobs. Was directing the guys on the bulldozers putting in basements.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would have to
That
be
was
out
your
there.
job? Like,
I would be out there with the transit, motioning lower, higher, and I'd always get yelled at because I always went too low. My dad would just say, "Do you know how much more cement we're going to have to pour?"
hey, speaking of that, this is a bad segue. We have to take a break. We have one more segment coming up. So if you're on the Facebook Live looking at the questions or comments, still time to do it. When we come back, though, We'll have just about 7 minutes to do that. So stay with us. Garden America, happy weekend. Brian Main, John Bagnesco, Tiger Palafox. Okay, we have returned from that break, a bit longer on Biz Talk Radio. By the way, thank you for tuning in on Biz Talk every single week. We do appreciate it here on Garden America. And, of course, all the loyal followers, watchers, listeners on Facebook Live across the entire globe, the entire world tuned in to Garden America. Because,
By the way, since my brother's online.
Because you tell us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, because they tell us they're tuned in. The people
That's the
around
only
the world.
way we would know, right?
We wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Your brother now what, John?
I hope that he notices I'm not wearing a plaid shirt.
Does he
Flannel
accuse you of
shirt.
always wearing flannel
He
shirts?
always
Yeah,
is.
I always wear a flannel shirt.
And-
Tiger's wearing one.
And I'm wearing one, and you're wearing one today, but John is
Oh,
not.
yeah, you know what? It's right.
And I specifically did not wear one because of him telling me that.
Really?
Yeah.
We should mention that a good friend of the show for a long time, Mr. Bob Crane, who we've gone on trips
Sea
with.
Crane Radio.
Sea Crane Radio.
Right.
Sent us, I think, an early Christmas present for us to try out and to
It looks
pass
like a
along to our
camera.
listeners and our viewers.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little garden radio, he described.
Well, that's what it is. It's a garden radio. And,
Yeah.
John, you had a quote. He has a quote on his brochure that says, planting a garden, I should say, and listening to the radio is to believe in tomorrow.
That's true.
And it's so funny because, I'm charging the radio. It's got a solar charger. It's got a wind-up charger. You can charge it with batteries. But it's so funny because I really can't make it play the radio because even though we're in a radio studio, they make them so soundproof
I know.
and dense that you don't get radio reception.
This is like a nuclear bomb
you
shelter.
don't get radio reception in here.
In this building, you have to be on Wi-Fi
Yeah.
or streaming to get reception. But it's a nice radio that does a whole lot, and we're going to test it out. And if you're interested, we can let you know how to get one of these.
You
radios.
can even use it to charge your phone, right?
Yeah, charge your phone.
And-
It's got a wind up. It's got solar. It's got
It's got a flashlight.
USB. Got a flashlight.
So
Now, does the flashlight work with the solar?
well, if the
We don't
battery's
know
charged,
yet if the batteries are charged. We're going to put it through its paces.
yeah.
I was
Carolyn
thinking
says that she likes Sea Cream products. We do too.
Bruce
Yeah.
Asakawa, that all he ever talked about in the radio world was Sea Crane radios.
Right. Bruce was a techie gadget guy.
Yeah, he was.
'Cause
Anyway,
I'm just winding away.
Well, I
over
thought
here.
I thought I heard like a little radio coming through there,
No,
like
no, I'm just winding away.
background talk,
One day I'll have it fully charged.
or as we call it, RF radio frequency.
Oh,
oh,
You've heard that term?
never heard that term.
Yeah, RF. Got a little RF interference, radio frequency.
I heard of RAF,
Oh, that's military, right?
right? The Royal
Royal
Air Force,
Air Force, yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's a rose called Royal Air Force.
Do you know the difference between AM and FM radio, how the signal gets to you?
no.
AM is bounces off the ionosphere, goes up to the ionosphere and keeps bouncing. FM is a ground wave. And that's
Well,
why
the
you
M
get
is-
AM radio so much further away
Further
than you
away.
would FM.
But the FN plays music better or something, right?
No, it's just the quality. You
Is-
might say the quality's better
That's right.
because it's stereo.
Uh-huh.
They over the years they've tried to broadcast AM stereo. It's just a little more difficult. It works, but it's like, you know what? Just keep it the way it is. It's not worth the hassle.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
What does AM stand for?
Amplitude modulation,
And FM is frequency?
frequency modulation.
Modulation.
See, we had to know those things back in the day when we took radio
Did you have to
classes.
take a test?
Oh yeah, I had to take it. I had to have a license.
Really?
You had to pass a test.
Do you have
What-
to have it renewed?
Well, see, first of all, they don't require that anymore. Back in 1980, when President Reagan deregulated a lot of things,
Uh-huh.
he deregulated the FCC. So back in the day when I got into the business, you had to take a test like you would for a real estate license
Right.
or the attorney passing the bar, and you had a temporary license in the studio. You had to take a test. If you missed it, you could take it again. You could take it a third time, but if you flunked it all 3 times, you're done. So I failed the first one, passed the second one, because there was a lot of intricate technology.
Well, you failed the part on the emergency broadcasting system, right?
EBS. I almost passed it the first time, just barely. Second time I passed it.
I passed my real estate license the first time.
Did you really?
Yeah. And everything you had to study for it was a total waste of time.
I passed my driver's license the first time.
Good, Tiger.
Well, that's good, Tiger.
You know what? We're going to get you a cookie after the show.
Well, you guys are all bragging about your first time passing tests.
Well, it's interesting because we had a lot of directional, non-directional antennas using oscilloscopes. You had to have a little bit of an engineering, just enough to pass the test. And anyway, that was a long time ago.
Hey, John wants to know what your favorite brands of hand tools are.
Oh, mine Corona.
You like that the best?
I do.
I don't think I have any Corona tools.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I just feel they're well-made, decently priced, good tools.
Yeah, I would say middle of the road. It's probably the best quality for that price.
Yeah.
I have what was our buddy from San Diego Botanic Garden?
John Clement?
John Clements, right. He told us about the Canaho,
Yeah.
and my daughter bought me one for my birthday,
Oh.
and that's my favorite tool by far.
Yeah.
It's well made, and for weeding, I really, really like it. And then I have I have to look at the brand because there's a Japanese pruning shear company.
Yeah.
And I always thought pruning shears were pretty much the same, for good quality. You use the Felcos, right?
We have a minute, just so you know.
These are so much better than Felcos even.
Awesome.
I have to find the name because I never take care of my tools. I use them till they wear out.
And that's why I say Corona is because I wear them out and then I just get a new one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, gang, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live, a lot of activity, a lot of back and forth, questions, comments. We do appreciate it.
Don't eat too much turkey.
Yeah, we will see you after Thanksgiving next weekend. We'll be back,
Right.
so you can tell us your Thanksgiving stories. You can talk about leftovers, because we'll be here.
Oh, leftover pumpkin pie. If
Leftover
either of you
anything.
guys have some, maybe bring it in.
Perfect.
Okay, we'll do
You
that.
don't want to eat too much turkey, but there's no such thing as too much pumpkin pie.
I would agree with that. In the meantime, have a safe rest of your weekend, a safe week. A happy Thanksgiving from all of us here on Garden America. And again, on those on Biz Talk Radio, we do realize this is after the fact. But for the rest of you, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll do it again next weekend right here next Saturday on Garden America. Take care.